All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Five Fuel channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Monday night, March 9th, 2026, and this is your Monday Night Raw review. And we are coming off what was a very good episode of Monday Night Raw last weekend. While it wasn't better than last week, we started off rough. I'm not going to lie. That Vision segment with all the masked men, oh, can't not wait to talk about that one. We started off rough with that segment and the gauntlet match, which I absolutely did not like. And it was a really bad start. That was a really bad first hour of Monday Night Raw. But then we got a Penta Intercontinental title defense, which was pretty good. The Judgment Day finally split up, and we got a great segment between CM Punk and the Usos. So they started off really rough, but in the end, they finished pretty strong. Those two segments, especially the Judgment Day finally turning on Finn Balor, and then the Roman Reigns, CM Punk Uso segment. I thought that was great. That was an awesome segment they had, and overall, I'll give this a decent show. I thought this was a pretty decent show. If I had to grade it, maybe like a B minus. That's not terrible at all. So we'll take it and we'll move forward with it, and we'll talk about everything that happened on the show. But first, before we get into anything, shout out to the Dolphins, man. Shout out to the Dolphins. I'm gonna talk more about it this week once like free agency wraps up because um, right now we've only had day one of free agency. We've still got a lot more to go. I think by Friday we'll have most of these players on teams. So I think in sometime Saturday, um, I'll be making a long video about Dolphins free agency recap. But yeah, man, Malik Willis is here. He's a Dolphins quarterback, a quarterback on the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is now with the Atlanta Falcons, and we'll talk more about that this weekend once free agency wraps up. But we got more to talk about this week. Wrestling wise, we have Dynamite on Wednesday, which is the go home show for the AEW Revolution pay per view Sunday night. Thursday, we'll be doing AEW Revolution preview and predictions. Friday is SmackDown. Saturday is going to be my free agency recap video. And then Sunday night will be the AEW Revolution review. Pretty darn busy week here on the Big Five Fuel channel. It's a big week to be a subscriber here on the Big Five Fuel channel if you don't want to miss any of this content. So go ahead and do that for me. And if you haven't already, pardon my sniffing. It is 70 degrees in New Jersey today. Okay, not used to it, so I'm coming down with a cold. And subscribe to the channel. And we got a lot of content coming up this week. So um, uh, here we go. Oh, the masked men. So Adam Pearce was in the middle of the ring addressing last week Paul Heyman getting ambushed by Seth Rollins and how much Adam Pearce hates the Vision. He's happy what's going on with the Vision on a downhill spiral, but he needs to talk to somebody first. He needs to talk to Seth Rollins because he cannot be running around here causing havoc on Adam Pearce's show. So he calls out Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins doesn't even come out to his music. Seth Rollins comes out with, I want to say, about 30 masked men. 30. And they're all swarming the ring, and they're all huddled up, and they're like beehivers. And they're like all like people that are like, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's all people in black jumpsuits and black masks, all hovering around the ring, and confusing. Adam Pearce, which one is Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins then walks in the ring and he takes his mask off, and Pearce is like, "You don't have to do this. You're one of the most accomplished wrestlers in WWE history, a multi-time world champion, multi main eventer at WrestleMania. I understand your hatred to the Vision, and I have hatred to the Vision too, but this is not good for my show. And me knowing you as long as we have, let's just put this to rest, and let's just move forward on a clean slate on the road to WrestleMania." Rollins does not do that. The rest of the masked men come in. Logan Paul and Austin Theory come out. They threaten that the worst case scenario is going to happen right now, and they're going to absolutely dismantle Seth Rollins. And then they're running to the ring, and all these masked men, they come into the ring, and Rollins puts his mask on, and they're all circling around the ring, and they all bail because they don't want to kick the shit out of Logan Paul and Austin Theory 30-on-2. So that's how they started Raw. I don't know who finds this interesting. I don't know who finds this fun. I don't know who finds this entertaining. But if you are finding this fun, or you're finding this entertaining, where there's 30 guys, there's 30 imposter masked men circling and swirling around the ring, you're probably afraid to show your face on social media. I mean, watching that segment got me thinking. Like, say I'm watching this show with a friend or whatever who has never watched wrestling before, and we're chilling, and this is the segment they have to watch with you. I would be completely embarrassed to watch the rest of the show. That segment was that bad. And this crowd in Seattle tonight was the most casual of casual crowds they could be, because they gave this a holy shit chant. Like, I couldn't believe that part of it. But this was horrible. Truly horrible. And all of this to lead to what? Another Seth Rollins Logan Paul match at WrestleMania. Feels like Seth Rollins is getting a new gimmick. And whatever this masked men gimmick is, it's not working. It sucks. It is so bad. It's so bad. We should have been done with it at Elimination Chamber. You want to try to finish off your storyline with Seth Rollins and the Vision? Fine. Do it. But that's how this Vision makes me feel. All this swirling and stuff. It sucks. It just sucks. So we're moving on. We got a women's gauntlet match. We had Lyra Valkyria, Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, Ivy Nile, Bailey, and Asuka. That was the order that this match went in. And listen, Bailey won. There was Kyrie. It came down to Bailey and Asuka, and Kyrie tried to interfere at the end and cost Bailey the match to help her partner Asuka and all this stuff, right? And the interference. So Lyra came down. She drop kicks Kyrie into the ring barricade, and then Bailey hit the rose plant, and Bailey won. Okay, not complaining about that at all. Bailey's getting a championship match next week against AJ Lee. Good for her. What I'm complaining about is I don't have Netflix Premium. Okay, there are people out there who do have Netflix Premium, so this isn't a problem from them. I have the Netflix where I'm only paying $7 a month, okay? And I understand that they have to get their commercial breaks in, but in a big match like this where it starts at like I want to say 8:15 and it goes until around 9 o'clock or just like a little bit before then, and I want to say 20 minutes of that match were commercial breaks. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. Like, think about it. It's a 43-minute match. 5 matches. It's like you're barely getting to see the matches. You're barely getting to see Lyra Valkyria against Io Sky because by the time they get back, oh, they got to get to the finish so that the next woman could come out. It's just not good. It's just not good. So after the first hour, I'm like, we're off to a really bad start. We're off to a really bad start with this show. But then it got better. As the original El Grande Americano was walking backstage, he ran into Danhausen. And Danhausen said how the two of them could make so much money together, and Danhausen could have a Americano mask too, and he tries to take off Americano's mask to try it on, and Americano laughs, and he's like, you seem very nice, like a very nice fella, and you're funny and you're nice, but I don't have time for this. So vamos. He don't have tiempo because he's got a match for the Intercontinental Championship. So he said, vamos. And Danhausen didn't know what vamos went. And Gable was like, that means go. And Danhausen was like, oh, you want Danhausen to leave? You want Danhausen to leave you? You don't want this partnership? Guess what? You are cursed. So he curses the original El Grande Americano, and in the background, it's Los Americanos and the current El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser. So we come back, and Penta cuts a very passionate promo, thanking the fans, the wrestlers in the back who pushed him, WWE for their belief in him, to get this to. So he's cutting a really nice emotional promo. It was really good. Now it's time for the match, and the current El Grande Americano comes out. So Danhausen cursed the original El Grande Americano, Chad Gable, to get beat up before the match by Los Americanos so that Ludwig could take this match. And so it was the imposter Americano against Penta. And I mean, they had a solid match. It was fine. I felt like I just saw this same match 3 weeks ago, though. I mean, really, dude? Triple H, we don't got any more chance. I mean, at least when they announced original El Grande, I'm like, okay, it's been a while since we've had this match. It's been a while. They could have a great match, and I won't complain about it. Brother, they had a fine match here tonight, but we just saw this match literally 3 weeks ago. The ending was sick. The code breaker by Penta into a springboard destroyer. That was pretty dope. So, Penta retains the Intercontinental title, and apparently he's wrestling with a torn bicep. So, I hope he's able to hold up for a little bit longer because he just won this title and it's been a long time coming. So we get this Judgment Day segment. And this is probably the biggest thing that happened on the show tonight, I would say. This probably should have been the main event, in all honesty. We get a segment backstage first with them. And Dom's like, I have some things to get off my chest. I'm going to the ring. And I want you guys to come with me. Because Finn is missing. Finn is not there. So JD says, I will go look for Finn. And Dom is cutting a promo. He's getting booed. It sounds piped in from the speaker. And Finn Balor finally comes out. And he's like, you're right about one thing. If this wasn't for, if it wasn't for me, you would still be Intercontinental Champion right now. But I want you to take this as a teaching lesson. I want you to take this as a teaching lesson, as it's tough love, because family always has each other's backs, but sometimes you can't fight your family's battles for them. Sometimes you have to let them do it on their own. And he's like giving a really good advice about, he's giving him tough love. He's giving him about fighting your own battles sometimes. And then he goes, I've stood along you for 2 years. We were family for many, many years. And I helped you along the way. I got you to where you are today. And thinking about it, your father was right. Because all that you are is a selfish little prick. So then, Dom pie faces Finn Balor. And this pisses off Finn Balor. And he's about to take his coat off, but he leaves it on, and he gives Dom the Pele kick to the back of the head. And he's separated by JD. JD is trying to talk some sense into him. And then he runs through JD to hit Dom with the sling blade. He then goes for the shotgun drop kick, and JD McDonough clotheslines Finn Balor. And that's really where the real turn is, because they could have played it out where, JD is signing with Finn. JD, Finn brung JD into WWE and all of that. They're both Irish, and you could make that whole thing a story. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. They just had JD turn on Finn, and that was the real turn. That was the real turn in this segment, was JD McDonough turning on Finn Balor, which orchestrated this heel turn. And then they all beat the crap out of Dom. They all beat the crap out of Finn Balor. I'm sorry. Dom hit him in the head with the hammer, which he wouldn't let JD get for him last week. He took that same hammer and hit it over the head of Finn Balor. A 619 where JD McDonough held Finn Balor's arms. A frog splash, and then another frog splash with a steel chair on top of it. And I thought that was a really, really, really well done, executed segment by WWE right there. It has been a long time coming, but it's finally happened. The Judgment Day has turned on Finn Balor. It should have happened years ago. It definitely should have happened last year. Absolutely should have happened last year. But they didn't pull the trigger on it. They finally pulled the trigger. And it seems like the direction now for WrestleMania in Las Vegas is Finn Balor versus Dominic. And Finn Balor should probably go over in that match. And then Obafemi versus Rusev. I called it last week. It's probably going to be a 5-minute squash. It's exactly what it was. It was a 5-minute match. Obafemi beat him quick. Let's get Obafemi in some good competitive matches. I don't need to see Obafemi in squash matches. That doesn't showcase him much at all. And then finally, the CM Punk Uso segment. Punk talks about the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. This breaks out in a Seahawks chant from the Seattle crowd. He said Roman Reigns clearly doesn't respect him, and that's fine. But what he's going to make Roman Reigns respect is the position he's in the company, and the position that the World Heavyweight Championship is in right now. Because you see, Punk really cares about that world title. When you win a championship in sports, you don't make the championship. The players don't make the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl makes the players. This World Heavyweight Championship is making CM Punk the guy that he is right now in WWE. Fighting champion. The face of Netflix. The face of Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns isn't either of that, because Roman Reigns isn't even worthy of showing up. Roman Reigns doesn't even want to show up. So, the Usos come out. And there was no yeeting. They looked very serious. And Jay got on the microphone immediately. And it was like, Punk, you better apologize for what you said last week right now. You better apologize for what you said about Roman's father last week. And Jimmy had to calm him down. And Jimmy was like, look, Punk, I respect you. The voice of the voiceless, everything you've gone through. You have an obstacle coming your way. You don't dodge from it. You run straight forward toward it. And I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell for what you're doing for this World Heavyweight Championship. I do. And this has nothing to do with Roman Reigns. This has everything to do with respect. I respect everything about you. I consider you a friend. But what you said last week, I don't respect that. And that's where I'm going to need you to come in with an apology. And then Punk said, "You're right. Your brother came in like a hothead on me, but you're right. This is about respect. And I do respect you. And I do respect you too, Jay. And I do respect Alpha. And I respect Sika too. Sika, I remember him giving me money for gas. I remember him giving me a hot plate of food if I ever needed it. I remember him giving me a roof if I needed it for a night or two. I respect the hell out of that. What I don't respect is what their son has become." And Jay was crashing out. He's like, "You still don't get it. You still don't get it. You need to apologize, and you need to say, Punk, I'm sorry." So CM Punk says, "All right, I'm sorry." He dabs up Jimmy. He dabs up Jay. And he says, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Roman Reigns treated you and the rest of his family like garbage for years and never once publicly apologized for the way he treated his family that he loves. I'm sorry that Roman Reigns disrespected one of my mentors, Dusty Rhodes, the father of my friend Cody, when he called him irrelevant, and is not on the hook for apologizing, but I am. I'm sorry, Roman Reigns has tricked everybody that he gives a single damn about any of this. If he cared about you, the people, me, or this company or business, I'd be standing in the ring talking to him right now instead of his young boys." So then Jay shoves Punk, and Punk goes to shove Jay back. Jimmy gives him a right hand. And that's the segment. And that leads into next week, which is going to be a very, very interesting segment where Roman Reigns will be in San Antonio next week. So, we got an awesome segment with CM Punk and the Usos. And we had, finally, the Judgment Day turning on Finn Balor. So, overall, this was a decent show. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So, 2 weeks in a row for Monday Night Raw. Hey, we're getting there. Maybe we're getting there. But, alright, I'm done for the night. I'll see you guys Wednesday for AEW Dynamite right here on the Big Fight Fuel channel. Subscribe, comment, hit the like button. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok, Colin_Joseph. And I'll see you guys Wednesday night. Peace.